Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. You know, Pac just had died.
So this one night, 50 called me up, and, you know, they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit, you know, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with, you know, with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing.
When Curtis 50 Cent Jackson unveiled his Netflix documentary series titled Sean Combs, The Reckoning, a significant portion of the audience felt a sense of vindication. Finally, the spotlight seemed firmly fixed on Sean Diddy Combs, tracing his ascent to dominance in the music world, the vast reach of his influence, and the dramatic unraveling that followed. Yet, almost as soon as the credits rolled, the conversation took an unexpected detour. A surge of viral clips, reaction videos, and heated online discussions began dragging another iconic name into the controversy: Snoop Dogg. Abruptly, various headlines, tweets, and forum threads started claiming that Snoop was in a state of alarm, choosing to vanish from the public eye, or perhaps even receiving some form of behind-the-scenes safeguarding due to supposed unreleased footage that was deliberately excluded from the final edit. Certain online personalities pushed the envelope even further, asserting that subtle references made by figures like Gene Deal and similar insiders cast Snoop in a far more ominous role than even Diddy himself. These theories gained traction at lightning speed, pieced together from decades-old conversations, low-quality archival clips, recorded jailhouse phone discussions, and layers of conjecture artfully arranged to mimic legitimacy. As is so often the case in the digital age, social platforms supercharged the chaos, transforming vague doubts into widespread distrust and turning wild guesses into perceived certainties. Devoted followers started wondering aloud, why has Snoop gone noticeably quiet? Does 50 Cent possess undisclosed information he chose not to disclose? Is the entertainment business on the brink of unmasking yet another revered icon? However, when we pause, step back, and rigorously distinguish documented reality from internet-fueled hearsay, an entirely contrasting reality comes into focus. One dominated by overblown drama, rehashed allegations, and the perilous tendency to equate conjecture with culpability. In this breakdown, we will methodically trace the origins of these accusations, dissect precisely what Gene Deal actually stated in his interviews, clarify exactly what the 50 Cent-produced documentary included and deliberately omitted, and explore how Snoop Dogg has genuinely handled the surrounding noise. Above all, we'll highlight what has been substantiated through credible sources, what has been firmly refuted, and what continues to linger in the realm of pure unverified supposition amid the ongoing repercussions of the Diddy saga.
This audio from Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, you know, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, you know, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, you know, he also speaks on how, you know, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. Let's download right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey, old big ass, you know, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac, according to everybody else, he brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these the dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
What's up, huh? Hey, whoa. Wait a minute, fellas here. Hold on. You know, I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we got to stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
Real, that's what we came in for. We came in to light it up and ride it up. We never used to hand.
Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfucker that everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one,
what you think about Suge comments. And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I mean, I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that, like now, okay. You know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion that, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. You know, we grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what, I probably ain't gonna come out, publicly with this because until things clear up, so I really know I could be certain that, they didn't have nothing to do with Pop. But it's like, it was no, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it. You didn't like it.
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pop boy. You know what I mean? Puffy, it's clear they had some issues with Pop. And Pop died, and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then, it just, okay, now you can say what you want. All grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then, I think it was weird. It was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressured them or like questioned Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? Then you could say, you know what I mean? No.
Online, Snoop Dogg's name skyrocketed in searches and discussions, paired with some of the gravest insinuations possible. Yet the driving force behind this frenzy stemmed far more from mere association than from any concrete proof. Snoop has been a fixture in hip-hop for over 3 decades, frequently intersecting with Diddy, Suge Knight, and virtually every influential figure during the genre's most turbulent and transformative period. Following the documentary's premiere, one of the most prominent commentators was Gene Deal, a one-time security chief with deep ties to Diddy's inner circle. Across multiple interviews and commentary segments, Deal suggested that select people were feeling unsettled because certain elements didn't survive the editing process. That one offhand remark proved sufficient fuel for rumor mills to spiral wildly. Allegations quickly surfaced that 50 Cent had purposefully suppressed video evidence, identities, and specifics to shield the broader entertainment ecosystem from scrutiny. Snoop emerged as a convenient focal point, instantly recognizable worldwide, with immense fame and links spanning both East and West Coast scenes. Vintage interviews were dredged up and recirculated, prison-recorded conversations featuring Suge Knight were reposted, and unsubstantiated stories involving supposed flash drives linked to the late Kim Porter were reiterated as established truth. A toxic storyline crystallized across the web. Quietness was interpreted as admission of wrongdoing, while high visibility was branded as evidence of involvement. However, when these individual pieces are scrutinized independently, none genuinely demonstrates any misconduct on Snoop's part. At most, they simply affirm that he operated within the identical professional landscape, during the same time frame, surrounded by the same network of personalities.
I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from our Deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door, doom, doom, doom. Tell them dudes to come out. What's up with your and Pop? You got a problem with Pop? Because we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pop. So that's different. You know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I already, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, he loved Pop. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page do that. Well, Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? I pulled up on them but I'm the type of person, I never been a bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pop, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in their eyes and if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem. I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know because it was too early back then. Pop just had died. You know what I mean? Like he had the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie. He gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do. But it just, You know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with them. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it. Like, I really felt in my heart, like, man, I can't believe this.
Here lies the true peril of the situation. Once mere closeness substitutes for solid proof, narratives shift away from pursuing accuracy and morph into vehicles for suspicion. In times like these, the most vocal participants are seldom the most reliable. Sean Combs, The Reckoning was never promoted or designed as a sweeping exposé of the entire music industry. Its primary lens remained trained squarely on Diddy, chronicling his journey from founding Bad Boy Records to wielding immense authority and ultimately to the protective structures that allegedly sustained him for so long. The series prioritized accounts from those who came forward as victims, scrutinized recurring patterns of manipulation and abuse, and remained anchored in the courtroom outcomes that resulted in his conviction and a 50-month prison term. Equally significant is everything the documentary intentionally avoided. It refrained from leveling accusations against unrelated public figures absent substantiation. It never implicated Snoop Dogg in any unlawful behavior. It presented no clips depicting him engaging in improper conduct. The notion that 50 Cent covertly shielded Snoop amounts to pure conjecture, devoid of supporting evidence. In various public statements, Curtis Jackson has emphasized that he revealed only material his production team could confirm and that legal advisors deemed defensible.
Diddy was doing a documentary thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how this started, is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay.
Has a relationship
with Netflix. I knew that.
With
Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there. But of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it. It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool, just turn over what you got. And what we'll do, we'll make it what it is because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like,
well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Mm-mm. Like, how were they able to do this without his?
No, but he didn't pay for it. So essentially, they're calling it a payment error. Oh. So essentially, the deal falls apart, or he's like, yeah, we're not going to do this.
So awkward.
And the people who did the work that have all this footage, they're like, so wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist, and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money. And Netflix realized this, and they went to the filmers and said, hey, give us the footage.
A recurring theme in these circulating discussions revolves around statements from Courtney Burgess, who asserted possession of flash drives purportedly tied to Kim Porter. Burgess suggested these contained compromising images and recordings involving prominent figures in compromising scenarios. Internet commentators eagerly connected the dots, inserting names like Snoop Dogg despite zero corroboration. Frequently overlooked is vital background information. Kim Porter's own children have openly rejected the validity of any supposed posthumous content or artifacts credited to her. Law enforcement agencies have never authenticated the existence or contents of these rumored drives. In formal legal proceedings, anyone depicted in such material would be regarded as possible victims rather than presumed offenders. No authenticated records single out Snoop Dogg. No verified visuals have surfaced publicly. Pure guesswork simply morphed potential association into supposed certainty. This mechanism illustrates the classic path of misinformation. An initial hint morphs into gossip, gossip escalates into trending topics, and trending topics solidify into widespread acceptance. Critically, holding unconfirmed materials does not constitute evidence of wrongdoing. Judicial standards demand context, independent verification, and reliability. Online discourse demands none of these safeguards. That discrepancy is precisely where reputations suffer irreversible harm without any form of fair hearing. Thus, assertions that Snoop Dogg is frantically worried about these alleged drives bypass every essential verification step. There exists no record of him being interviewed by authorities. No signs suggest he faces scrutiny. And as of late 2025, no formal legal proceedings tie to his name.
We're going to look at this through the prism of a modern-day rhetorical genius. A modern-day rhetorical genius. We're talking about the one, the great, the 50 Cent. All right. This guy's skill at rhetoric is absolutely next level. And this totally ties in with, how he famously is a big fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, rhetoric with a capital R, I can just give you the definition of that. That's basically public speech, particularly public speech that is to persuade. Any persuasive public speech is rhetoric, right? Now, we kind of break that down into two subcategories of rhetoric with a lowercase r and dialectic. Rhetoric is essentially everything else, and really what moves the needle with like 97% of people and 100% of groups, okay, is in fact rhetoric with the lowercase r. So again, stuff like this, 50 Cent is an absolute master of. Basically, he dropped this doc, this 50, this Sean Puffy Combs doc, and it's just kind of set the internet on fire. It's beating out Stranger Things. Like, it's a wild ride to watch, right? And one of the things that he does is he breaks down Diddy's character on Diddy's own terms.
Over the years, Suge Knight has leveled numerous accusations against Snoop Dogg, ranging from disloyalty to deeper involvement in the tragic events surrounding Tupac Shakur's murder. These claims reliably resurface whenever the hip-hop world confronts public scrutiny, yet they remain neither novel nor substantiated. Knight has voiced them primarily from behind bars, often in interviews that generate buzz largely due to their provocative nature. Snoop has steadfastly rejected these allegations, characterizing them as fabrications rooted in long-standing animosity and professional rivalry. Most crucially, official investigations into Tupac's death have never resulted in charges against Snoop Dogg.
Because he wanted them to, both Suge and Pac.
In the car?
They only Pac, and they don't Suge. So allegedly, they got paid $500,000. The $500,000 was paid to the guy on the right, all the way to the right. You see the guy on the right?
Corey.
He's the one allegedly that got the $500,000, and that money never went to Keefe D or anybody else. The guy on the left is the one that stole the chain, the chain, which was a Death Row Records chain. That's a way of saying I got your rapper's chain, because if you were one of the guys, Death Row. So long story short, this whole thing is a recording that he said this. So what does Diddy do? Rob, can you pull up this song? It's a song called Black Rob, featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. If you can just type in lyrics, okay? So he gets $1 million. Can you go to the lyrics? And Diddy's in the lyrics when he gets started. Go a little bit lower. Boom. Can you type in the word in there, Rob? Nice guy. Type Control F, nice guy. Okay, right there. Look at it's 1999. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Been nice too long. I'm just gonna start making y'all blank disappear. Man, first I'm gonna take your records off the radio. Then I'm gonna erase your social security number. Take your birth certificate out flies. I'm gonna do your whole effing family. Ain't nothing but mercy. And then, by the way, in the lyrics, he says, I'll drop $1 million on your head to erase you. Can you type in, I'll drop $1 million, just put Control F. Just go to Google and type this out. I'll drop $1 million on your head. I'll drop $1 million on your head, and just put Diddy next to it. Right there. See, it says Black Rob. What song came up?
Phrase.
I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you and your whole family, biatch.
Wow.
He's saying it in the song on what he did to get rid of Tupac.
What an idiot.
Another persistent rumor insisted that Snoop Dogg abruptly withdrew from public view following the documentary's debut. A simple review of recent activity dismantles this myth entirely. Snoop maintained his usual online presence, sharing updates about music projects, entrepreneurial ventures, and even publicly showing solidarity with 50 Cent in various ways. The perception of his disappearance arose from cherry-picked observation. When individuals become invested in a particular storyline, they conveniently disregard any evidence that undermines it. Snoop issued no frantic denials, deactivated no accounts, and retreated from no commitments. Rather, he stayed focused on his ongoing endeavors, including stewardship of Death Row Records. While restraint can represent a calculated choice, in this instance there was no meaningful withdrawal, only a deliberate decision to withhold energy from baseless chatter that warranted no response.
For being out there and allowing Nisa to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family. He vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never fucking with her again, and I ain't never fucking with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool a brother. But had he killed my man or something like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, Suge made Puff feel like I'm going to get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason he was mad at Puff, and Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy, and it was Death Row. It wasn't no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast niggas was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I got to get at the Suge. The Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now, they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself. And got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them. And Zip hung up the phone on him behind that.
So what you mean by more?
So I don't know where you get all the extras from when they had a conversation at the hospital and all that. That's absolutely not true. Say less, if you know what I mean. But instead of just saying less, since I've been in here, Snoop and other people Been having people trying to bail the guy out, Keefy D, because he talking too much. Raising them trying to do stuff for Puffy because they say he talking too much. They even had somebody talk to me and say, hey, you can help him get free. I said, look, I don't have nothing to do with none of that, and I'm not leaving prison to go to nobody county jail. To the point they were saying, well, you can't leave and sacrifice a little bit in the county jail to stop that black man from getting life? Hell no. I ain't wishing bad on him at all because I don't want to see nobody go to prison. And like I told you last time, since I find out more details about certain things, I probably would go to the Vegas County Jail if me and Keefy D with Sellies. We have a good conversation after I give him, six upside his head, another 6 in his body, and another 2. But yeah, that's different. It didn't happen with Snoop didn't go to the hospital. That's a lie.
The fundamental distinction between Snoop Dogg's current position and Diddy's isn't rooted in fame or cultural status. It's grounded in tangible evidence. Diddy's conviction emerged from prolonged federal inquiries, sworn witness statements, and meticulously documented legal conclusions. Snoop's scenario, conversely, rests entirely on loose connections and hypothetical scenarios. As of December 2025, official federal updates indicate 0 charges, 0 indictments, and 0 ongoing investigations involving Snoop Dogg. This separation carries profound weight. In a period when influential personalities are increasingly facing consequences, official silence from authorities doesn't imply favoritism. It signals a complete lack of credible substantiation. The industry is unquestionably experiencing significant upheaval, but not every individual swept up in the aftershocks bears responsibility. When speculation masquerades as fact, it doesn't reinforce justice, it undermines it, particularly at moments when genuine accountability is paramount.
Just got out the gym, doing my workout box. Shug, you right. History would repeat itself. Because, nigga, you wasn't the only nigga in the room, nigga. You wasn't by yourself. It was other people in the room, too. I'm not going to say no names because, like you said, we don't talk. So, why you on here talking? Let that go, man. And as far as Snoop and Corrupt writing my album, you ask them niggas that. Them niggas ain't wrote my album. Corrupt helped me with Do You See? Snoop helped me with This DJ. Other than that, everything else I wrote. So, that's where you wrong at again. And as far as the tough guy, do you recall when we was at the World Club and it said Death Row and NWA? Who fired on that? Me. When you was at the Comedy Store, fighting that little buff ass at the Comedy Store, who saved your motherfucking ass? Me and C-Staff. So what have I done to you? For you to launch out at me? Look, don't get mad at me, man. I ain't never done nothing to you. I wasn't signed to you. So,
at this moment, Snoop Dogg finds himself ensnared in one of the internet's most predictable patterns, converting ambiguity into indictment, resurrecting ancient feuds as fresh proof, and inflating conjecture into widespread panic. But once the sensational headlines, clickbait thumbnails, and impassioned reaction videos are peeled away, the underlying reality proves remarkably straightforward. There is no authenticated video evidence. There are no formal accusations. There has been no vanishing act. The authentic narrative isn't centered on Snoop Dogg spiraling into fear. It's about the alarming velocity with which stories proliferate the moment a powerful figure's empire crumbles, automatically casting suspicion on anyone within orbiting distance. As the broader fallout from the Diddy case persists and additional verified details gradually surface, the pressing question isn't who the online mob will pursue next. The truly vital question remains: will factual truth ultimately prevail over rampant rumor, or will baseless speculation continue to dictate perceptions of guilt long before any concrete evidence has the opportunity to emerge?
In a documentary, there's a couple things I'll share with you guys on what I took away from it. But Rob, maybe share the clip on how he got access to some of the footage of the documentary. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not
disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day.
Perhaps. Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
So that doesn't mean it's not true. Of course. But they relied on stolen footage, okay, is what they relied on. And then they ask about the history of 50 and him, issue that they've had. What's the one you just pulled up, Rob?
This is where they talk about the feud, and then I also have 50 Cent talking about Diddy's reaction to the documentary.
Yeah, that's so funny. That is so funny. But watch this one here. Go ahead, Rob.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that part, right? The fact that the feud with the two of them, hey, let me take you shopping. Like, you say that to a girl in 50s, like, what are you talking about? Take me shopping. How do you ever flip a mind? You want to take me shopping? And then last but not least, Rob, the other clip you have of 50 is talking about how he thinks Diddy's going to like this documentary. Go ahead, Rob.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
You can't even hold it.
Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see the truth.